I mean, one of the things that strikes me is that it's inescapably obvious now that some of the traps that are being set by one side for the other are now turning out to be traps that anyone can be trapped by. You know, this thing of, for example, believe all women, right? Once you introduce that, you are absolutely fucked, because at some point someone on your side is going to come along and it's going to turn out that they've been doing things wrong. It's just the way of the world, right? So do you think maybe some people are going to start to wake up now and go, some of this stuff that we've been doing in the last few years, or is it just my naive optimism talking?
No, I think, listen, if your optimism weren't something that we can all aspire to have in the future, then there's no point for me to get out of bed, right? Because right. Listen, I navigate in the ecosystem that is most infested by this bullshit, right? Academia is the coronavirus of the human mind center, right? This is where the bullshit is, right? By the way, this is one of the reasons why when people say to me, well, how come you don't criticize Republicans more or the right more? And as I explained in my book, and I've explained a million times before, let me explain again. That's like asking a dermatologist, but bruh, what about diabetes, right? Okay. If I'm a dermatologist, I deal with skin-related issues. That doesn't mean that diabetes is not important, but I'm not an endocrinologist. I am a dermatologist. In my daily life, I operate in an ecosystem that is completely dominated by the left, right? Most of the idea pathogens that I speak of in the book are completely the product of insane leftist progressive stupidity, right? Therefore, I attack that, not because that is my secret attempt to communicate to the world that I am a right-wing guy, but that's because those are the diseases of the human mind that I'm exposed to, right? So as a parasitologist of the human mind, I deal with parasites of the left. Now, if a Republican senator comes out and says evolution is a hoax and we should be teaching intelligent design, then I will also go after him. But the reality of my daily life is I am attacking leftist ideas because that's what I see all day. But so to answer your question, I do believe that we can win the idea. I do believe that people can turn around, but I think it's a generational fight, right? You have to have all of the original spreaders, right? Just like a coronavirus can spread. The spreaders of the bullshit are the professors who for the past 30 or 40 years have been spewing this nonsense to their students. Once you have enough people come and attack these ideas, or once these guys die out or retire, then we will start seeing changes. But this is why, by the way, I tell people, you don't have to be a famous professor with a huge following and so on to affect change. If you see in your classroom your professor spewing something that you disagree with, challenge them politely. If you see someone post something on Facebook, or if you're at a bar and somebody says something idiotic, challenge them. The problem is that most people are cowardly. So what they do is they subcontract this fight to a few public people. But you know what? My shoulders are only so big, right? Now, it just so happens that I have the type of personhood that I'm very combative. I mean, I'm very nice and very warm and very sweet, but you come after me, I come after you 10 times harder, right? That's why sometimes people say, oh, but on Twitter, why are you sometimes mean? Well, when you've insulted me for the past 600 days and I've kept quiet, then I say, okay, let me bring out Middle Eastern boy. Let me roll up my and I'm going to be relentless in going after you. And usually they shut down their accounts, by the way.
Yeah.
Once I decide that I'm coming after you, it is endless how much I come after you, right? So people have to, and it's a term that I've used before, grow a pair. You have to have testicular fortitude to say, I have a say in this battle of ideas. I should also contribute. It shouldn't be just Gad Saad and Joe Blow and John Smith who fight on our behalf. And by the way, this is one of the things I talk about in the last chapter of my book, the chapter's called Call to Action. Don't diffuse the responsibility onto others. Trigger your honey badger, your inner honey badger. If you don't know, the honey badger is a astonishingly ferocious animal.
It's my favorite animal, Gad. Thank you so much. I'm a massive honey badger fan.
Look, I've never seen him this excited for weeks, Gad.
I love them. They're incredible. Sorry, carry on. Couldn't help myself.
The honey badger is, the size of a small dog, You can just go on Google if you're watching this, whenever you're watching it, and see a honey badger face down 6 lions. And the lions look and say, what the fuck? and they're like, this is too much, right? So when people see me, 99.9% of the time, I'm extremely mellow. I'm extremely sweet. I'm a very affable guy. But if you attack me in an alley, I'm not sweet and affable. Then I will fight. And that's different than when I am tucking my children to bed. This is called the fundamental attribution error, right? You attribute things dispositionally when you should be attributing things to the situation, right? So on Twitter, I use that medium to usually smack down someone, not so much because I'm smacking them. They might have only 12 followers, but because I can use that opportunity for the audience to watch how you never back down from a bunch of lions if you're a honey badger. And so to go back to your original question, Konstantin, I am optimistic, but big caveat: if the silent majority chooses to rise up and then fight in the battle of ideas. If it remains on 4, 5, 10 people to do so, we will lose the battle.